Charles Walhingford back again with another cigar pairing. And today I have a special pairing. And today's pairing is something that I don't know how to put it in any other words, but should be fantastic. Why? Why should this be fantastic? It should be fantastic because I have two extremely high quality products. Starting off with I would say distilled aged spirit. It's not a distilled aged spirit today. It's a wine. This is a port wine, a fortified wine. If you're not familiar with fortified wines, I'll tell you more about it a little bit later. The Sandeman 30-year Tawny Port. And we have the Paul Garmirian Gourmet Series in Maduro. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This is going to be, I think, probably another 100. I only have a couple 100s, and this is, or do I only have one 100? Yeah, I only have one 100, and this, I think, will be a 100 pairing score, I think. All right, I'll see you once this experience is more matured. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're back with the Paul Garmirian Gourmet Series in Maduro and the Sandeman Tawny Port 30-year aged. In the beginning of the video, I said this is probably going to be a 100 score. Didn't get a 100 score. It did, however, get a 95. It received a 95 score. And if you're not familiar with how I do my scoring, 90 and above means you have a perfect pairing, meaning that what you have together doesn't clash, it works out well, and then you have amplification of flavor. And then once you get to the 95 to 100 range, you have brand new flavors that would not have existed without putting the two together. And we have a 95. That means I have experienced flavors that I was not expecting to have if I had these separate. Before I get into the pairing, let's take a second and talk about the Paul Garmirian Gourmet Series in Maduro. Now, the wrapper is a Connecticut broadleaf. The filler is a Indonesian, and the binder is Dominican. Average price is around $13. The strength would be medium to full. Barely, not really. I would say it's just right at medium, slightly over medium. I would advise, if you're rather new, if you're new to cigars, this would be a good one to have. The only thing you might not find the same subtle flavors I pick up because this is not a newbie cigar brand. This is a hard to find brand, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I really like Paul Garmirian. So, what are the notes that you're gonna have? What are the flavors you're gonna have? Though it's not sweet, but the best thing I can tell you what it's like is baker's chocolate. It's like slightly sweetened baker's chocolate. A little bit light raisin. There's some woodiness in there, and in the first third, some red pepper on the lips. And it wasn't overpowering. It's just almost perfection. This is my favorite Paul Garmirian cigar of all. And I absolutely love Paul Garmirian cigars. Also, to go along with that, why I like Paul Garmirian cigars so much is because most cigars are aged for 5 years. This is a 5-year aged cigar, purchased brand new. So you're going to get a high quality, smooth cigar when you buy a Paul Garmirian. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Sandeman. The Sandeman, that is a 30-year, like I said, tawny port. If you're not familiar with tawny ports are fortified wine. It's fortified usually with very young brandy and sometimes cognac. And that's a very, very special or necessary element to pair well with cigars. A fortified wine such as this tawny port, or rather, let me say that better. A tawny port, because not just any fortified wine, not any wine. A tawny port pairs very well with a cigar because it does not overpower. A lot of reds will overpower most things unless you have something really, really, really strong, like a steak, like a red meat steak. That's what you pair with naturally on your meal. But a tawny port doesn't need, is not overpowering like that, and also a tawny port doesn't get overpowered, so it works really well. But let's go ahead and talk about the flavors that you're going to have with that tawny port. The dominant flavor is dried cherry. It's that tartness is absolutely right there in the front. Apricot, light nuttiness. I've seen some sites explain it. It's hazelnut. I don't know if I pick up hazelnut, but I do pick up the nuttiness and a light bitterness, but not a bitterness like a stout beer. Just a little bit of bitterness, just to add some complexity to it. It's nice. It's actually really, really nice. And lastly, to go back to what I was saying before, you don't want to pair a cigar with any old wine. You want to use a tawny port. You don't want to even use a regular younger port, a ruby port or anything like that. Tawny port is the way to go because the flavors I just explained, especially the apricot, that's the same flavors you're going to find in cognac, work really good with a cigar, especially a Maduro cigar. So let's talk about the pairing. When I first lit the cigar and took a couple sips of the wine, I was like, wow, this is really good. However, it's not even a 95. I swore it was going to be 100. It didn't end up being 100. However, in the second third, where most cigars really let you know what they are, or really highlight it, or the peak of a cigar is the second third. And that second third, I don't know what happened. One sip was just fantastic, and that was it. It went back to being just really good together. So that's why it received the 95 score. And I can't describe that. It was nothing that I can describe. It was just a lot of different flavors, an explosion of flavors here, there, everywhere. It was all over the place. And I was really excited. However, it did not continue throughout the whole cigar, but it still was really, really nice. I highly recommend trying these two together. If you're not able to find the Sandeman, a tawny port would be just as good. Maybe 10 years, a 20 year would be fine. Like I said, buy the 20 year rather than the, if I didn't mention that already, buy the 20 year rather than the 30 year. 30 year just a more expensive 20 year to me. You can find them online, but it'll cost you around $100. The Paul Garmirian will be about $13 for one stick, and you can find them at the Paul Garmirian website. But together again, really nice, extremely enjoyable. You won't be let down if you put these two together, or if you have these two separate. Having this by itself is fantastic. Having this Paul Garmirian by itself is fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this helped you out with your future choices of cigars and fortified wines. because you have a distilled aged spirit inside, fortified wine, and cigar. Don't forget to like, comment, share if you really liked it, and subscribe. I'm Charles Walhingford, and the Sandeman 30-year and the Paul Garmirian Gourmet Series in Maduro is how I would spend my money.